Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it's Thursday night. So it's time for your Impact Wrestling post show. It's September the 29th. I am Joel Pearl. I am joined, as always, with my ride or die, my bestest host ever. Sorry, Tim. Cresta, the Starr. Cresta, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's always fun to be here with you, the young Joel Pearl. How are you? How's everything?
How am I young? What makes me young?
Because I said so, and I make the rules.
You see this gray, right, in my beard? You see this?
Okay, then what does that mean? I knew a kid in junior high school who had a gray streak, and he was a child. So
That's that song by Crash Test Dummies about the kid who suddenly came to school with his hair turned from black into bright white. They couldn't quite explain it. It always just been there.
Stress.
I can't do the voice that deep.
Stress.
A monstrously fun Monsters Ball main event of this show. Allie Katch makes her Impact Wrestling debut. That was such a fun show, Cresta. Did you enjoy Impact Wrestling this week?
Yes and no, but I had an epiphany this week. And also, how is this the first time I'm seeing Allie Katch wrestle? Holy
Really?
hell! I've seen pictures of her with Bussy, and I'm like, okay, I love it. But then, like, to see her wrestle tonight, that's a tough girl. That's a tough girl.
So I'm going to level with you. I'm going to level with you. I watched Victory Road. I did it over 2 nights because it was just like Friday. There was a billion things on TV. So I got it.
Yeah.
I got part of it on Friday and I watched the rest on Saturday night. And when Jordynne Grace announced the Pick Your Poison match and said, you're going to face Allie Katch in a Monsters Ball match, I was like, that is super underwhelming. Because Jordynne Grace had just finished facing Max the Impaler. And it was this like hard fought victory for Jordynne Grace. Max is much, much bigger than anyone else mentioned. I just expected Jordynne to pick someone even bigger. I thought it would be someone that was physically bigger than Masha Slamovich. And yeah, I mean, Allie Katch is physically larger, but it wasn't the same. I expected someone on Max's level in terms of intensity and just look and scariness. But this match did it for me, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about a whole slew of other things here tonight in Impact Wrestling. And if you want to get in on the conversation, you can go ahead and leave us your super chats. Now, apparently the super chat function has changed a little bit on this here YouTube gimmick. If you go onto your chat, you're either going to see the $ as you usually do in the bottom of the chat, and you can just leave any dollar statement, get your question statement right on the air, or you might have a medallion next to your name. And I think that's because some of y'all are YouTube members. Some of you know, some of you don't know. Our friend Zach Chimmel has he gifted a shit ton of subs. Gifted a whole bunch of YouTube memberships to the channel back when Fightful Select hit 10,000. And as a result, some of you have medallions now. So if you click that medallion, that's the way you can also send a super chat. Absolutely wild. Or you can send a Humper Chat. Go to humperchats.com. Cresta, tell them what they do, how to do it.
You head over to humperchats.com. You put in your donation amount. We will get that Humper Chat. We get to keep just a little bit more, and we'll read your chat online. It's like a super chat, but from humperchats.com. Bing.
Every week you get so much better than that. You're winking. The 7 people who listen to us in audio are very confused right now. Anyway,
I love y'all. Thank you, all 7 of you. You're amazing.
My favorite. I'm one of those, by the way. Yeah, I listen back to our shows. What of it? You want to fight? We'll fight. Anyway.
I'm tapping. I already told you. I'm tapping.
As always, we start with BTI, and as always, we have to listen to George Iceman talk to us about Iceman Intel. He had a whole lot of nothing to tell us this week. Talks about Eddie Edwards being the first person to pin Josh Alexander in over a year. Pretty good. Happy about that. Talks about the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. It's back for Bound for Glory. Mentions that Moose had cashed it in at Bound for Glory in 2021 after he won in a fairly infamous moment, both for him and for me, because I had called Moose calling his shot on Josh, and people were very upset with me for getting that prediction right, because people really wanted Josh Alexander to win the title. carry it for a long time, and instead it became that long Moose with the world championship, and then Josh going after Moose and chasing him. It was a whole thing. But anyway, we don't need to get into that. And then George Iceman mentions that there are major superstars from Impact's past, including the Demon. Yes, the Kiss Demon was he showed up. Are you familiar with the Kiss Demon?
I feel like this is a cursed memory, and I feel like I've seen him the same time I've seen Shark Boy.
Yes and no. The Kiss Demon was a WCW and Kiss creation. So they did a collaboration. And the Kiss Demon, who was portrayed by Dale Tolborg, who later on became, I think he was a hitting coach for the Chicago White Sox, like worked with AJ Przinsky. And AJ Przinsky also did stints with TNA. Either way, Dale Tolborg did come back as the Demon last year in the Collier Shock Gauntlet match. And George Iceman told us that maybe the Demon is going to return, and also teased other big surprises. Otherwise, just a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, he just said the Demon a lot. So I'm like, okay, Rosemary turning up? What's happening?
No, he's talking about the Kiss Demon, but they can't call him the Kiss Demon because Gene Simmons might actually catch a whiff and be like, I am owed money.
I mean, get in where you fit in. America's a very litigious country.
Ricardo the Spot Monkey hits us with a super chat and says, touch grass, you nerds. JKL love. We love you, Ricardo. Hope you're doing well. I did touch grass today. Went out with my kid and had a very nice afternoon. Had a very nice day. I hope y'all did too.
What's grass?
Well, it depends where you're from and where you buy it. On BTI, Jason Hotch took on Yuya Uemura. Yeah, I'm just not going to touch that one. Some states it's legal, in some countries it's legal. It's legal in my country, and it's legal in the state in which you live. So I guess it's okay to talk about here.
What about mowing my lawn?
Where you live, you ain't got no lawn.
Okay, that's fair. New York, Central Park is our lawn. It's everybody's lawn.
It's the state's lawn. It's the city's lawn. Yeah, I don't think so. Jason Hotch and Yuya Uemura was a really good match. Again, BTI continues to have really strong matches that kind of set the tone not only for the night ahead, but also you kind of get little sprinkles of what they might be doing on TV over the next few weeks or who they're trying to build. Hotch looks good. He's got the basics down and he's got some extra flourishes. He does a roll through the ropes, neck breaker, easy for me to say. Looks real crisp. Yuya Uemura has beautiful drop kicks, and these two just kind of have good chemistry and have a really good match. Ends with the crossbody, but of course there's some stuff in the middle. I do like that Yuya does like a big clothesline and takes out Hotch completely, and then does the crossbody and gets spin. What do you think of the match? Anything to add? What you got?
I love every week on BTI commentary really goes out of their way to put over the people who are wrestling. The first thing they say is, oh, Hotch has X Division written all over them. I was like, I see where you're going to fit in. And by the end of the match, I was like, I really hope they sign him if he's not already signed. I'm interested to see where he's going. Yuha always puts on that match for a BTI match was also stiff as hell. So it's standard good match. I never worry about the wrestling when it comes to Impact. I never worry about it.
Hotch hit a really cool roll through German bridging suplex.
Yes.
Looked so good. And that was how he got away from that crossbody. That's how he averted the crossbody the first time from Yuya Uemura. Who, by the way,
they call that the Chaos Theory or something like that?
I didn't catch that. If he did, then that's a good name for it. I'm fine with it.
Somebody said that the rolling suplex, I think Great Wall said, was like sometimes known in the Impact Zone as the Chaos Theory from Hotch onto Yuha.
Okay. You got me on that one. I didn't catch it.
I was being sweaty today. I was really on it. I was paying attention like, Joe, you're not going to flame me.
Good, because when we get to that Honor No More segment, you're carrying the load. That was not good.
Listen, that's where I had my epiphany. So you know what? And I got my conspiracy theory crown this week.
Yes, let's go. We'll get there. Impact starts with your favorite rock hard Juice Robinson, former Impact Tag Champion. He's accompanying Ace of Beys to the ring against Trey Miguel and Laredo Kid. They're finally listening to you, Cresta Starr. They're going to build Ace of Beys. They get the win. The assisted art of finesse into the fold on Trey. Ace pins Trey Miguel. That's the match. We'll talk more about what was good in it. What do you think of the match? Are you happy about it? How do you feel?
Anytime Chris Bey wins is a win for me. I will say the art of finesse into the ace of Bay. What? Lord have mercy.
The fold. The match.
Thank you.
Sorry, the finish called the fold.
Thank you. Into the fold. I was like, Jesus, my brain just blue screened. It looks fluid and it looks better every week. My opinion on Ace Austin is changing. I'm like, okay, I see it. And it's nice to see Bullet Club without the Good Brothers and see them flourishing. Not for nothing. I knew Trey Miguel and Laredo Kid were not going to win, which is kind of sucky when it's predictable. But Laredo Kid and Trey Miguel never disappoint. So I was sports entertained. It was good. And they promoted Chris Bey's new album that comes on Halloween. I caught that too.
Oh, that's right. He dropped a single last week. It was really good stuff, man. So Ace of Beys are starting to rack up wins, which I'm a big fan of. They're starting to get a little bit closer to maybe hitting up a tag title match, maybe getting somewhere there. Ace of Beys versus Motor City Machine Guns. Maybe
I was thinking the same thing. Yes, I would like to see, even if they don't win a couple of times, I'd be with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trey and Laredo Kid teaming together. So it makes sense to me because Trey told me in our interview that him and Laredo Kid not only have a ton of respect for each other, but that Trey has learned a lot from Laredo Kid. And a lot of his confidence in some of the moves that he does comes from Laredo Kid, basically telling Trey, yeah, you can do it. And then Trey being like, yeah, I guess I can do it. And then he'll do whatever the move is that they're talking about. In the instance, he was talking to me about, I think it was a over the top rope into a Hurricane Rana. And Trey was like, I don't know if I can do that. And Laredo was like, no, you could do it. And Trey tried it and did it. And he was like, well, guess I can do it. So these two, if they push each other and maybe they work together more as a tag team, there's an opportunity there. However, if they treat this match as just an X Division tag team showcase, which is what Matt Raywalt and Tom Hannafin called it at one point, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a little mind-blowing to hear that Trey Miguel couldn't think he does something, because what I think he does in that ring, the whole X Division is, I can curse, it's fucking art. Like, it's like his gravity doesn't exist for him. And I think that it's incredibly crazy. And that someone like Laredo Kid, where gravity doesn't exist for him either, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. So good match, great way to open the show. I was very entertained, sports entertained, as you would put it normally, Cresta. Just a good match. And you know what? I like seeing Juice Robinson taking them to the ring. Juice, of course, had a match on AEW Dynamite this past week and had a good showing against Moxley. So it's good. And also Juice has the tie to Impact because he's a former Impact Tag Team Champion. So who better to accompany two guys who want Tag Team Gold to the ring than a former Impact Tag Champion himself. So it works. I'm fine with that. It looked good. Let's move on. Gia Miller's with Bhupinder Gujjar. Gia Miller getting a lot of FaceTime tonight and interviewing a lot of wrestlers. And we're going to talk about all of this stuff. Gia Miller says, hey, Bhupinder, you got a broken nose. You can't compete. But Bhupinder says he'll be cleared next week. Says he got a first taste of getting close to gold. And then he enters the Collier Shot Gauntlet. He says something in Hindi. I actually hit him up on Twitter and I asked, hey, Gujjar, what'd you say? And he told me in Hindi, he said, I'm going to take what's mine. So thank you, Bhupinder Gujjar, for clearing that up, for letting us know, because that was super helpful. Good to know. A lot of people putting over Bhupinder Gujjar today on commentary throughout the Brian Myers match that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes against Crazy Steve. Your thoughts on Gujjar and this promo and where we might be going with Bhupinder Gujjar in the future?
I think he's phenomenal. Getting to know him through the Brian Myers thing, I wanted him to take it off of Brian Myers. It makes sense that he didn't. I can't wait to see how he interacts with the plethora of other people who called their shot tonight. So I'm here for it. I think it's 10 out of 10. And also Gia Miller, I call her little Caleb Braxton because she was in her bag tonight. I was here for it. Gia Miller, you look so pretty. I was here for you, Gia Miller, tonight.
She always looks great, and today was no different. Philly 76 with the super chat saying, feels like Ace of Bay may actually be in line for a big push. All for them getting to the top contenders, being the next top contenders. Sorry, I had a brain fart myself. I blue screened, as Cresta would say. Yes, I am all for them being the next top contenders. If they can go and take on the winners of the tag match at Bound for Glory, I'm all for it. I would love to see Ace of Bays against Motor City Machine Guns if Motor City Machine Guns win the tag titles. How do you feel? What do you want for Ace of Bays?
I do feel like there is, I don't know, I feel like the tag teams on Impact have been like a little lacking or maybe we've seen a lot of matches repeated with teams. So it'd be nice to have the injection of this fresh Bullet Club, this fresh iteration, and especially having Juice Robinson there. You never know; they might hit you with the Freebird rule. One of these guys is going to do it. So yes, I want Ace. I think Chris Bey is phenomenal. I cannot put him over enough. I think he is phenomenal, and I want all the success for him. Win both the tag team titles yourself. You got this.
If you Freebird that title with the Bullet Club, I'm sorry, it's got to be Hikuleo. It's got to be. He's my guy. I like
anybody
Juice.
From the Bullet Club.
It's got to be Hikuleo. Hikuleo and Chris Bey. That's the big man, little man. Honestly, Hikuleo with either guy would be the best big man, little man team. So that's where my brain's at. But I'm all for Ace of Base.
Robinson?
No, not at all.
No.
I love Juice. Not that. Juice as never open weight champion, beating Carl Anderson, his stablemate. That's what you want right there. Anyway, now we're treading into New Japan territory, and we're not doing that here. Gia Miller's with now we're treading into AEW territory. Gia Miller's with Frankie Kazarian, and he's like, I want to prove something to myself. So he wanted to prove that he can hang and keep the blade sharp, and if you have the blade, you got to use it. Just a lot of platitudes, just talking. And then when you have the best player, you don't sit him on the bench, you put him in the game. Puts over Mike Bailey, says he's playing a game that Kazarian created and that he's going to take back his X Division title at Bound for Glory. Were you shocked to see Kazarian win that triple threat revolver match at Victory Road for the Bound for Glory match against Mike Bailey?
Didn't see it.
Yeah, but you know that he won. And you knew who was in the Victory Road match. We thought it was going to be Kenny King.
Yes.
Did Kazarian shock you? We kind of just counted him out and said he's just a guy coming in.
Honestly, yeah. To be honest, I was like, okay, what are you going to do? But at the same time, what are you doing in AEW? You could absolutely do something like this. And it's going to be a banger because I always enjoy any member of SCU. Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian, and I'm a fraud.
Doctor.
I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud.
Another X Division champion.
I'm a fraud, yo. This FBI, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Chris Daniels is the guy that they keep talking about in Impact. They keep mentioning him. I have a theory about Christopher Daniels, Cresta Starr. Do you want to hear it?
It was nice knowing you. I'm gonna
hang your ass out to dry. You're in vacation mode. I get it. So am I. Do you want to hear my Christopher Daniels theory?
The conspiracy theory?
I don't have a hat. Okay, I don't.
Y'all,
if you want to put on the
y'all can all thank Joel for this conspiracy theory, and I'm gonna make my chair lower.
Tell me if you get HBO with that.
What? I'm sorry, my people need me.
That's right. So I can't believe you actually made that hat. So Christopher Daniels. They keep talking about how Mike Bailey is inching closer to Christopher Daniels and his 13 title defenses of the X Division Championship. And that's like the most defenses that have ever been. I think number 13 defense will be against Christopher Daniels. And I think it's going to be Mike Bailey, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian getting the win makes sense. Because again, you talk about SCU and you talk about Kazarian and Chris Daniels, like they are it just the story just speaks to me. I think it would happen at Overdrive, which is in November, because the rate at which Mike Bailey is burning through these X Division Championship matches, they can't just stretch it to Hard to Kill. They can't get to all the way to January. So it feels like if they do it, they would do it then. However, not on the card tonight, not on the show was Mike Bailey. And I don't think he was part of the tapings. And he's not listed for a match next week. He wasn't promoted for a match next week. So maybe you could stretch it out a little longer. So what do you think? Christopher Daniels for number 13? This was number 7, I believe. The Delirious match at Victory Road. Which means 8 for Kazarian.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think either way, I don't know. However, I did upload your information directly to Scott D'Amore, so let me take this off because it's sucking my brain power.
Thank you. I could have just sent him an email because,
it's your dad. Just like how Scorpio Sky and Stokely Hathaway is my dad. So
that's right. Anyway, I want to ask you, because at one point, Kazarian mentions this whole like Scott D'Amore understands that you put your best player in the game, you don't sit him on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that maybe that's a shot from Kazarian to Tony Khan and AEW because Kazarian isn't featured regularly on AEW programming? Do you think of it like that at all?
I did for a hot second because I was like, Kazarian's right. He's good in a lot of like I like all professional wrestling. Let me preface and say that. Sometimes repetitive matches can be good if things are a little different or if it's telling a story. But if you've got all this great talent, and obviously Frankie Kazarian's been doing it forever, like a Chris Sabin or Alex Shelley, so why not put him in? So to me, it makes sense. Or maybe even too, because my second thought was maybe he's saying, well, if I'm Frankie Kazarian, I'm trying to put over everyone, I'm the best player that they have on the Impact roster because I'm on AEW. I don't know, and that's me digging. I don't want to put on that conspiracy theory hat again.
Was it hot? Is that the problem?
You know what it is? I can hear the Teletubbies song over and over, so I think my connection is too strong to the other world. And if it gets any stronger, I might summon Cthulhu. I don't want to do that.
No, we don't want that. That would be a bad problem. Either way, I found it interesting that that's what Kazarian had to say, and I thought to myself, like, I don't know if it's a shot because Kazarian has a friend who is talent relations in AEW and got himself an Impact. Like but it also just felt a little bit like you were taking a little bit of a shot. But maybe not. It could have just been him being like...
We could be stretching. We could be reaching.
100%. Maybe in the comments, people are going to be like, nah, no way, ain't happening. But just kind of something I thought about when I heard him say those words. I was like, it's a little strange, but okay. But yeah, there we go. Speaking of strange, Matt Raywalt's trying to set up the Bound for Glory card, and then a guy in a yellow sweatshirt tries to interfere and take him out, and he's doing this. He's doing the V. It's so painful. How do you people do this? It's
video games, baby.
Oh God, it's so I'm out, and it still hurts. Anyway, what do you think? I love this. I thought this was a really good little segment. They're finally getting involved in the Impact Zone, not just in these backstage in the middle of nowhere segments. VBD is slowly showing up.
I feel like all the things that I want in an invasion angle, I'm about to get. Like a hostile takeover invasion angle. And this is just testing the waters. I think that it's great. I cannot wait. And I want to see a bunch of little yellow hoodie guys. I cannot wait. Because I enjoy Eric Young so much. So I'm expecting it to be violent. I'm expecting Cody Deaner to be off his beaner, off his little rocket, off his head. I can't wait.
So, are they for sale? Is Violent by Design now going to be a faction on retainer, to borrow a line? Not on retainer, but just a group of people that you can hire to mess your shit up.
I feel like they're chaos.
But in essence, so is Honor No More.
Okay. The thought process with that, though, I think if we talk about the not the main event, when Josh Alexander went out, when Honor No More were all saying, oh, we're so good, we're this Honor No More love fest. I think it's important to note that when he said that you guys see this as job security and I see this as the prize, I feel like Honor No More is motivated by fame, respect, this, that, and the third. And while Violent by Design is going to be like, I will choke you because I can. I want the prize, but I'd rather have violence. So I feel like that would be the faction to really, really mess up Honor No More, honestly. That's what I would think.
The only way I'm thinking of it is because when we eventually talk about that Honor No More segment, that was very long and very plotting and full of empty platitudes. No, I'm not gonna talk about it right now. VBD could potentially get involved somewhere to try and join Eddie Edwards, as if Edwards maybe paid them off to cause some chaos to get him closer to the Impact World Championship.
I could see that.
We'll see, because he had a lot to say about family and people having his back. So we'll when we get there, we'll talk about it. But let's move on to the Digital Media Championship match. Ryan Myers takes on Crazy Steve. Good match, solid match, was what it was. Crazy Steve climbs all over Ryan Myers, eventually bites him gets the upside down, which is like half of a tarantula. It's good. Finishes that the referee gets jostled by both Myers and Steve, and then Myers hits the roster cut lariat for the pin. Commentary, by the way, throughout the entire match, putting over Bhupinder Gujjar hard. Again, love it. Love to see it. And it's something that we talked about last week coming out of the ladder match. It's something that needed to be done. Before we talk about the post-match and Brian Myers, what do you think of the match? Do you have anything to add to it?
I don't know. You know what? I don't
fine.
because I feel like the joke I was going to say, I don't know if it's a joke. I don't want to be offensive, but I don't know why Brian Myers has to cheat you better than that. You better.
Is he though? Is he though?
That's also a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yes. Graham saying the roster. Yes, it is called the roster cut lariat because Myers came in during the 2020 when all the people were getting cut from WWE. He called himself the most professional wrestler because he also, I think he called himself like something from Stanford. Like he did. At one point he called it Greetings from Stanford. Had a move like that. It was all just like anti WWE stuff. And at the time, it made perfect sense because there was a lot of silly shit going on with WWE cutting people left and right. So yeah, the roster cut is what he calls it.
Wasn't he also on a losing streak? Like, wasn't he like
that was
40
that was by
and
his
0?
own? But that was he went like 200 and something.
Yeah, it was like 240.
It was padded. But the point is, that was also Brian Myers' like thing. Like that was his idea. And then eventually it all culminated with him and Matt Cardona winning, Zack Ryder at the time, winning the tag titles of WrestleMania in New York, like in New Jersey. So like it was perfect for them. They loved that. But that was a gimmick. It got over. People loved Myers by the end of it. Taking L's.
I mean, sometimes you gotta lose to win.
And he did. He did great. So post-match, Myers grabs the mic. He says he's taken the Digital Media Championship and made it the most prestigious title in all of Impact. Josh Alexander would probably beg to differ.
Speedball has entered the chat. Jordan Grace has entered the chat. Like, what's going on here?
Vex are probably like, what is this shit? Anyway, no, it's great. It's perfect. And he says it's all too easy for him now. He's like, where's my competition? Where are the blue check marks? And I'm like, no, that's a really good point. Impact has a very severe lacking of blue check marks. And then Myers issues an open challenge at Bound for Glory. And I thought to myself, well, Bobby Fish has a blue check mark later on. That's not the case. We'll talk about that. And then I realized Cresta. I think I know who it is.
Matt Cardona.
No.
Oh, that's what I thought.
You say his name and he appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Yo, my friends have had to mute me in Discord. The way this song has a grip on me, even have the turtleneck on. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I have to mute myself.
I had the clap going. Thank you for finishing that for me. It's like that song by Styx. Once I started, I just can't stop.
Exactly.
Those, if you know, you know. People in the chat are just like, not this.
These are the people who are also in my Discord like every day. Joe Hendry, you've created a monster, but I believe in Joe Hendry. So good. He's my new favorite wrestler. I don't care. I stand. I've never seen him wrestle, but when he comes in, I'm going to be the person always screaming in Impact. That's going to be me from New York.
So before we talk about the stuff that happens before the Joe, let's just talk about that Joe Hendry segment. So the guy whose dad died, the guy who was told that the kid wasn't his, he's apparently the main character, and now they're going to find out about his father, his dead dad's inheritance. And he says, like, whatever it is, as the family's fighting, whatever it is, we'll split it equally. It doesn't matter who gets the money. And then the lawyer is like, well, it's none of them. It's none of you. And the guy's like, well, then who is it? Tell me. Say his name. And then the camera pans, and it's Joe Hendry among a pile of books. Just lurking like a creep.
With this face too.
Like, you know who it is. You know what time it is. It's like shit-eating grin. And so I guess Joe Hendry got the dead dad money. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Great segment. Again, they're so poorly shot, but they're so amazingly done. I am a big fan. So Joe Hendry versus Brian Myers at Bound for Glory. Is that what we're doing? He's probably in the Call Your Shot gauntlet, but honestly, I want to see Joe Hendry come in and on night one win the Digital Media Championship.
At this point, Joe Hendry needs to grudge match that British guy first. You ruined his life. You took this dad's money. The kid is not his. Joe Hendry, you're a menace. You're a menace.
I got it. You put the kid on a pole.
Oh, I knew
and
it.
You put the money in a briefcase. And now you've got it. It's custody on a briefcase and money
in
on
the
a bank.
Swinger Dungeon.
And you do it in the Swingers Palace, which is where we're going next. First of all, the Swingerellas are back. I'm excited for that. Apparently, Swingman was engaged to one of them. And Swinger's like, I don't remember this. And then Johnny Bravo shows up. I don't know if you remember Johnny Bravo, but he's like...
I could not remember his name, but wasn't that the virgin guy who they were going to sacrifice?
Yes. That's exactly who it was. So many callbacks. It's very funny.
The wad of money. It finally appeared. Where was Tasha Steeles?
Oh, it's Hernandaddy's. But anyway, Johnny Bravo, going back to the whole thing with the married Swingerella, Johnny Bravo's like, I married this woman because you left her at the altar. And they make a joke that they're just like, didn't you watch Wrestle House 2? And Zicky Dice is like, I don't think nobody watched Wrestle House 2. And seriously, Cresta, nobody watched. It is the lowest rated Impact on Access ever. Do you know how many people watched that episode of Impact Wrestling?
Me, you, and Joe Hendry. I don't know. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it though. So, it was right there. On
average, there's about, with ratings, we want to talk about the ratings on TV, regular TV, about 100,000, 120,000 people on average watch Impact Wrestling weekly.
Okay.
49,000 watched Wrestle House 2.
Well, 7 people watch my Twitch, so it works out.
It aired on Thanksgiving, so that's the whole reason nobody watched. But also, the first Wrestle House to me was amazing. It was so silly and so much fun, and it was like in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So like they made it work. But then they did it again for a special event, and I was like, I got through the first 20 minutes, and I'm like, nope, not tonight.
That's not funny. I shouldn't laugh like that, but it's the way you said, like, not tonight. I'm going to bed. I'll read a book.
Exactly. Jessica and Taya walk in and they poorly act through it. Like normally they're great, but this time it felt like they were told, okay, these are your lines, just go do it. And it was awkward. Taya does a callback to Who Shot Johnny Bravo, and the wife, one of the Swingerellas, turns to Johnny. He's like, should I be worried about this woman? He's like, no, one of them tried to kill me. It's nothing to worry about. Trust me. And then all of a sudden the lights are on in Swingers Palace. They find the wad of cash. They make a Hernandaddy reference. Oh, I'll get it back to him, that money. And M.A. Solko sends us a humper chat saying, the half-hanging Swingers Palace sign was perfect. I'm sad Easy Monkey wasn't there. One day he'll be back.
I don't even know who Easy Monkey is, but rest in pasta.
Wasn't Easy Monkey, oh my God, it's going to kill me. Falaba?
I forgot about Falaba. I liked him. I liked him. Oh man, I feel like I'm having a nostalgia pop right
now. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I could have sworn it was part of Falaba's whole thing. Maybe it was wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter. People in the chat are like, I like Wrestle House too. I'm sure you did, and that's fine. Regardless, very funny segment with Swingman and Zicky, and the Swingerellas are back. And that's not the last we're going to see of the Swingerellas, so get excited for that. And maybe go back and watch Wrestle House 2. Oh, Easy Monkey was the little curl-tailed statue at the gaming table. Thank you. We're all just going to remember it as Falaba.
We love our chatters because you guys educate us and we educate you.
Sometimes I just forget things.
It's the young old age in the beard. All the secrets are in the beard.
Yeah, it's that Central Park grass. Anyway, we spoke about Rosemary and Taya. Not Rosemary, but Jessica and Taya. Rosemary is with Father James Mitchell, and she's trying to sort out the issue with Jessica and Havoc. Jessica, by the way, is sick.
That was funny. That whole segment was funny. Yes. I love that segment.
And Rosemary is like, who wants to be a human? Because Jessica is now a human and not Havoc. And Rosemary's like, I want Jessica gone. I want Havoc back. And then in walks Jessica and Taya. And Taya's like, I like Jessica. And Jessica's like, I've been trying to prove myself to you this whole time, Rosemary. And she's like, holding back tears. Again, the acting is much better in this segment compared to the Swingers Palace one. It was like night and day. It was very strange. And then Taya tells Rosemary, stop pointing fingers at her because there's always 3 fingers pointing right back at you. So Rosemary is reluctantly in and says there's an awful lot of work to do because Taya and Jessica have never teamed together. So she's got to train them up. What'd you think of the segment? Father James Mitchell, by the way, was just kind of there to be like, I got my own shit to deal with. Like Maxie Impaler is now running around roughshod and I don't know where they are.
I honestly really liked it because it's always the mid and I can't stand her and Jessica sucks. And he's like, you know what? I gotta go. Good luck with that. Bye. Yes. I liked it a lot. And I think that there's a lot to be told here with the Taya Jessica tag team. And if it eventually leads to them ousting Rosemary, so there could be a match somehow between all 3 of them, greedily speaking, I'd be here for it. I don't want them to break up right now. I'm not that girl yet, but I like this odd couple trying to make it work. And I want to see how this plays out because I am thoroughly intrigued and sports entertained.
It was a very good segment. And I want to see, we're going to get at Bound for Glory, Jessica and Taya teaming up against Vexed. Looking forward to that. So again, we'll see how the match goes. And I'm excited for the backstage segments they may have filmed to get us ready for that. Bound for Glory, by the way, is in like 8 days, which is wild to think about.
I was like, how are some of these people wrestling after all things considered? Last week was Victory Road. You're doing this week. And then next week you got to wrestle on Thursday and then wrestle again on Friday. Oof.
Well, you know, I mean, they changed the show.
I mean, come on, keep it kayfabe, bro. Keep it kayfabe.
Now, Black Taurus takes on Delirious. Delirious and Mike Bailey, by the way, tore it up at Victory Road. Good match. No promo off between these men. Lost opportunity because they are the 2 best promos of our time. Are Delirious and Black Taurus. If you know, you know. A bull taking on whatever Delirious is, so that's great. At one point, Delirious is like running the ropes in a like chaotic fashion, and it's absolutely wild. He's just like going from the side to the other side, but then he's hitting the front rope and the back. It's just, he's not running it like he would typically run the ropes, and I love it. And Taurus is so confused. Delirious does 10 leg drops before Taurus just rolls out of the ring. He's like, oh, forget this shit. This sucks. And then eventually Delirious gets the horns and then Destination Hellhole, which I still think is an awful name for a finish. And Black Taurus gets the win. Great match. Black Taurus looks stronger each time. He's running a wave of victories. What do you see happening with Black Taurus in this case?
I want Black Taurus or Crazy Steve to take the X Division champion off of Mike Bailey. If anything for Halloween. Come on, it's the spooky month. I really like Black Taurus, and every week he gets better and has these matches. I'm just like, can we put something on him? Something. The digital media champion beat up Brian Myers, like something. You don't need to cut a promo for me. I'm sports entertained by everything that he does.
He's great.
Yeah,
I would love to see more for him. I don't know what you can do with him. I don't know what championship he would get. Because you can do the digital media championship, but he had a match against Brian Myers and he lost.
And I'm like, I feel like they would put the X Division on someone else, but him and Crazy Steve do a tag team. Weren't they a tag team?
They're still a tag team, but like, is that a tag team that you want to roll with? Although Crazy Steve having really good matches always helps. But then you got to deal with the whole, like, Crazy Steve will always take the pin in that tag team.
I don't like that. I don't like that, but you're right. I don't like that, but you're right. I don't like that, though.
Either way, I like that they're making Taurus stronger. I think it's time. Because Taurus and Josh Alexander have had banger matches before for championships, I would love to see them maybe run that back. So if Josh Alexander were to retain at Bound for Glory, you were just talking about Halloween. Halloween this year, the Thursday, the 27th is as close as you get because Monday, the 31st this year is Halloween. If you do a Halloween themed Impact on the 27th, give Black Taurus the world title match against Josh Alexander.
Put the titles on Taya and Jessica because that'll be sick.
That was completely non sequitur to what we were just talking about, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Gia Miller's with Bobby Fish. He's like, hey, by the way, Bobby Fish was not at the tapings, so these were all filmed at Victory Road, so that's interesting. So he's like, hey, I'm here to pick a fight, a legitimate fight, and it's going to start with me calling out Josh Alexander. And then he mentions his history with Eddie Edwards. The last time that Eddie Edwards and Bobby Fish had a match together one-on-one, Ring of Honor TV in April of 2013. Anyway, Bobby Fish enters the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, and then Bobby Fish is like, well, it's going to be in Albany, New York, and that's my hometown. And of course, for those who don't know, Bobby Fish was one of the founders of Albany, New York back in 1686. Cresta Starr, Bobby Fish, what do you think?
I didn't know he was the founding father, but now that makes sense. It makes sense. It totally makes sense. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe he wins the Call Your Shot. Maybe he doesn't. It's going to be a good match, but it's fine. Nothing offensive. It's fine. I don't like.
Something's got to come out of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match with him, because I don't want him to win that match.
Yeah, I feel like Impact is really good when you have all these multi-man matches that you set up a bunch of storylines. I think the next segment after this is the Moose with Gia Miller, and Moose is going to beef with Macklin, and everyone's going to screw each other. And there'll be someone either, if Fish wins, do I think Fish takes the title? No, I think Fish goes, challenges for whatever title and loses it. And then he goes into a proper program, but you want to do the big splash. If he doesn't, he gets screwed over by someone. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of things there for us to enjoy in Bobby Fish's presence. Like I said, nothing crazy, nothing out of the pocket. It was fun.
So the Moose segment was a little bit later, but let's just talk about it right now. Gia Miller's with Moose, and Moose admits that there was a deal with him and Macklin, that the deal was Macklin would help Moose with Sami Callihan, and then Moose would help Steve Macklin win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. But Moose is now calling his shot. He's going to enter the gauntlet like we were talking about, and then Moose is going to win Call Your Shot and shove it down Steve Macklin's throat. Macklin enters. He takes offense. They brawl for a little bit. Then they go to commercial. They come back. Scott D'Amore is telling security, hey, don't let them cause any more trouble. And he runs into Sami Callihan, who's got a nasty looking shiner.
Yeah.
Apparently they call it a broken orbital bone. Regardless, just gnarly looking something in his eye. And Sammy's like, I want to do it one more time. And Scott's like, well, you're not cleared, so it's not happening till after Bound for Glory. Or at Bound for Glory, because you can't wrestle till then.
Yeah.
And then Sammy's like, well, what do we do in the meantime? And Scott's like, all right, all three of you are pains in my ass. Essentially, that's what he says. And then next week he makes Moose versus Macklin, and Sami is the referee. And Sammy's just like, I'll take it. And there you go.
Is that Sami Callihan or Vince McMahon?
That was my Vince McMahon dripping into my Sami Callihan. Yes. God damn it, I'll take it.
Such good shit.
I'll be fine. I'm not looking forward to seeing Macklin, Moose, and Sami again, but Sami is the special guest referee, so Macklin and Moose can tear each other apart. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, to me, overall, Impact was very middle. This is the time where it was middle. It was still great. You know what I mean? I did not watch. I saw the clips of Monsters Ball, and I was like, I don't need that nightmare fuel. So it'll be interesting to see these guys tear each other up right before Victory Road. So here we are. I mean, Bound for Glory. So here we are.
One more interview segment before we talk about Honor No More. Gia Miller's with Mia Yim, and she asks about the Mickie James match Bound for Glory. Mia Yim's like, I was shocked, I'm a little bit hesitant to accept Mickie James match of Bound for Glory. Mia brings up that Mickie was one of the first people that Mia wrestled, one of the first names, and then they show footage of Mia versus Mickie from Maryland Championship Wrestling in 2010 at the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup event. I expect callbacks to that at Bound for Glory for those who are watching the footage, so that'll be neat. I'm into that. And then it walks Giselle Shaw, of course, and says, well, Mia can't get the job done because I couldn't get the job done. And Yim's like, well, I could use a warm-up, so I can get the job done against you next week. And then Giselle just mimics Yim as she walks away. And I'm just like, and Gia puts the mic in her face and she's just like, walks away.
It was giving Ricky Starr. She's like, next week will be me versus. That's what it That's what it gave me. She was like,
it was such a good segment. And I like that Giselle Shaw is just this little bratty jerk.
I'm here for it. And I like seeing Giselle Shaw on TV every week, getting better, doing more. So kudos to that. Kudos to that.
Did you know? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Mickie James in one-on-one competition against Mia Yim is 3-0.
God damn. It's about to be 4-0. Damn.
If you add triple threat matches, Mickie James versus Mia Yim, Mickie is 4-0. If you add tag team matches, Mickie James is 5-0 on Mia Yim. So at Bound for Glory, Mickie James going for 6-0. And then Mia Yim can, I don't know, do whatever you want. Hey, by the way, subscribe to Fightful Select because we broke some, we didn't break some news, but we have a lot of Impact contract news. So we'll leave it at that. And Sean had his Q&A today. Grapsity Boys, they did a Q&A today. Tons of scoops are happening this weekend, even though the wrestling media world is going to be centralized in a single location this weekend. I will be there as well. Cresta Starr, $5, Fightful Select. Would you say that's a great deal?
That is the best deal. And this way you don't have to get it from third, fourth, fifth, sixth-hand sources. You can argue right in the comments there from the source, and say, I knew it first. Go to your high school and tell your friends, I knew that first. Go to the water cooler and tell your friends, I knew that first, for $5 a month. Be that guy to know it first.
So much content. It's not just the scoops. It's all the extra video. It's all the extra audio. You're getting notes and interviews before they drop on the main channel. Go ahead. $5 a month. You are silly if you don't do it. And if everyone's just like, yeah, but I'm not going to do the Sean Ross Sapp nerdy guy. Why can't I get the thing? If you think that you're going to get the news for free elsewhere in 20 minutes after it drops, like Cresta said, you're getting it from the source. You're getting the actual news the way it's supposed to be. Not someone else trying to rewrite it to make it not like, hey, copy my homework, but don't copy it word for word. You're not going to get that. You're going to get the homework, the 100% homework, the way it's supposed to be, not someone else's like 1 or 2 word changed version of it. Go ahead.
Where's the wrestling scoops? Under the sauce.
There you go. For $5 a month, you can do it. That's FightfulSelect.com. We're doing well. What I didn't love and what didn't do well for me, Cresta Starr, was this Honor No More celebration because it dragged on.
All right, I'm getting my conspiracy theory hat back. All right.
Go ahead. I don't even want to run down this whole thing because it was just, like I said, full of empty platitudes and people talking. Eddie Edwards is like, hey, all doubts are put to rest. I can beat Josh Alexander. And then what does he do? He's like, hey, PCO, fuck you, PCO. You lost to Motor City Machine Guns. And it's true because PCO was pinned at Victory Road by the Motor City Machine Guns. Sure. PCO failed at softening up the guns for OGK for Bound for Glory. And by the way, PCO is now wearing a business suit, which is hilarious. And then Eddie Edwards says to PCO, you step up when I tell you to step up. Otherwise, you step back and you shut your mouth. So Vincent puts the bag over PCO's head to calm him down because apparently that's what it does. And then OGK start talking and we get a little bit better. I love that Matt Taven pulls out a purple microphone square. It's perfect. All business PCO. Sorry. Do that. Yeah, they talk more. And then Maria, like they do more congratulatory stuff. And then Maria's like, it's a bigger deal because Moose pinned a beaten Josh Alexander, whereas Eddie beat Josh Alexander clean. Therefore, Edwards is the better wrestler. Yada, yada, yada. Fortune favors the bold. What we fight for is truly righteous. More platitudes. Yada, yada, yada. Cresta Starr is super bored over there. I get it.
I'm not bored. I'm just soaking in the information with my conspiracy theory hat. It helps stimulate my brain, the frontal cortex.
Josh Alexander shows up and he's like, righteous, it's all about fear. And then I went to the bathroom. And then he says the Impact World title means job security to Eddie, but it means the best wrestler in the world in Impact Wrestling, as Cresta mentioned earlier in the show. Eddie says he'll have his family behind him at Bound for Glory. And Josh is like the second Eddie turned your back on the locker room, the fans, Josh fights with the fans, and the fans are by his side and behind him. At Bound for Glory, Eddie is outnumbered. And then Taven off camera or off microphone is like, that's Canadian math. And I had a good laugh over that. And then Eddie challenges Josh to come to the ring. Josh comes to the ring. They fight. The numbers game, blah, blah, blah. Then Heath shows up. He gets beat down. Then PCO is helping. And he's obviously with Honor No More. Motor City Machine Guns show up. They get beat down. Rich Swann joins. More beat down. Blah, blah, blah. Eventually, Josh and Eddie are one-on-one in the ring, face-to-face. They stare at each other, and Eddie slithers out of the ring. I like that, even though these two just had a six-man tag and touched. Not whatever. And Heath, Swann, Motor City Machine Guns, and Josh Alexander all stand together in the ring to set up the Swann and Heath versus Vincent and PCO match. Before we talk about the match, Cresta, start talk about this absolute Shiza Fest known as the Honor No More celebration.
I got to tell you, at the end, the way you were describing it is the way that I saw it in my head. The only thing that was missing was the Benny Hill music.
Pretty much. Oh, God.
So let me tell you something. I had this conspiracy. I made this just for this segment because I was watching this. I was like, oh, my God. First, let me say that at first I was mad. I was really upset because I had wrote in my notes, oh, it's time for the Honor No More circle jerk. When he started blaming PCO, I decided to turn my brain off. And that's when I had the epiphany. This is a conspiracy, y'all. Honor No More are the best heels in the business because I'm such a sinner that you guys get under my skin. You guys are great. You're blaming PCO for everything. PCO dead, doesn't do anything. He's in a business suit and you put a bag over his head like he's Mormir from freaking what's his name? God of War. Maybe whatever his name is. So you got this man with a bag on his head. Vincent can't control the man. Eddie Edwards is blaming him because you finally, what is happening here? And I was like, that, you know what it is? They're just good heels. And this is big brain wrestling, and I don't get it. So I have to boost up my connection to the other world, to the wrestling gods. And I'm hoping the spirit of Gorilla Monsoon can help me understand. Because they're good heels, and maybe I don't get it. But they got under my skin tonight because I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is. I thought that was the main event and went on for so long.
So did I. No, because I knew the Monsters Ball was the main event. I was just like, oh, we're doing this, and then we're into the main, and then nope. There was a lot left. Big question, by the way. Does that get Google Fi?
One moment, please. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta ask.
Actually, I know where you're at. Don't move, Muscle Jones. Google is on their way to your house asking you dumb questions like that.
That's not a good thing. I don't need that right now. Anyway, I think there's a big difference between the Heat that you want and the Heat the go away Heat. And right now, we've talked about
towing the line.
No, it's go away Heat for me at least. And we've sat here on certain weeks and praised Honor No More as turning a corner. This was not a good segment. It just drowned. And I'm not kidding when I said, Josh Alexander comes out. I was like, I'm going to the bathroom. Like I have my headphones on. I'm hearing everything, but like, this is like nothing's happening.
Like I know what I was getting when they said it was an Honor No More segment. I know it's going to be a lot of we're the greatest, and somehow it's PCO's fault. But what? Like,
at least it made sense coming out of Victory Road because PCO lost his match, right? Taven and Bennett and Eddie Edwards, they won the 6-man tag. And the fact that Eddie pinned Josh Alexander, big deal. That's great. You pinned the champion. I hate when champions are pinned, but I guess this is their way of being like, we're going to get heat out of it. And people are, we're going to shove it down your throats. That's fine. But just the dialogue.
Yeah, it dragged on.
Empty. It's just empty.
Do I want to put that tinfoil? What if PCO joins Honor No More? Man, I'm doing too much.
PCO is a part of Honor No More.
I meant Violent by Design because you see how he's going around like you got. Maybe you could put the bag on his head because the tinfoil's not on, so I'm not getting good reception. Never mind.
Nah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do PCO and VBD. I think it's a little too obvious, if you will. I think someone else has got to join that fits the VBD vibe, or VBD gets put on retainer with Honor No More somehow.
Well, to me, I don't see the motivation because if Eric Young is like, it's all going to be for me, why would I hope someone else become champion? That's not me.
Good point. Unless he's just like, well, money makes a big difference in my plans.
Or you help me, and when I win the title, you're the first person I
But we just did that with Moose and Macklin, so why rehash this again? But that's the point. But it's always going to fail if two heels who are wanting nothing but wins and being underhanded, if they're going after each other. Why would you do that? I see Delirious in the chat or Bobby Fish joining. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't want anybody joining Honor No More. I would much rather Honor No More break up and have OGK, who might not even be staying with Impact to begin with, because they're getting closer to the end of their tenure, or unless they get signed a new contract, they're getting close to the end of their tenure with Impact. Edward Edwards is still around. Vincent and PCO probably sticking around. I can see that. OGK, man, the world is their oyster. They have a lot of options.
Yeah. I also would like, even if they don't break up, because I do see like tonight, even though I dunked on it, but tonight I did see a potential, like you really got under my skin. Like Alexa Bliss used to really get under my skin. Y'all were on those levels. There's something there, especially Maria Kanellis. She's so good on the mic.
Yes.
There is something there. And I just wish it was either refined or put in a direction or like break them up, because together it's a clusterfuck and I want more. And because I want more, I'm like, I don't see it.
Bobby Fish as the new leader of Honor No More, oust Eddie Edwards, I'd be fine with that. And then Eddie turns face eventually.
And be the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling again?
Listen, you gotta do something else. You just gotta do something. Go take a nice long vacation with your wife. Hang out on the beach. Be like, honey, I'm so sorry I tried to get you to join Honor No More for that long. I'm sorry we had an awkward few months of just me trying to convert you. I'm sorry. Just take it to Sandals, take the photo, the office photo with oh my God, Michael Scott and Jan.
It's about like the 90s glamour photos with like the head in the background. And you're
no, you know the photo I'm talking about. We're there at Sandals on a work thing, and Jan is topless.
I've never seen The
no,
Office.
You've never seen it? Fine. People who know, the photo I'm talking about. It's super awkward. Do that. I don't care. Just do something else with Honor No More. It's done. Oh yeah, there was a match, by the way. Rich Swann hit the Phoenix Splash on Vincent, won it for his team. Heath and Swann over Vincent and PCO. Sure, whatever. It was fine. There were some good moments in the match. There's some great selling by Rich Swann. He's a great seller. Don't get me wrong. End of the match, Rich Swann dances. Heath just kind of awkwardly stands there and looks awkward. And it's very funny.
I feel like this segment before sucked all the air out of the life of that match, because I tried to pay attention. I couldn't tell you what happened besides they won. Like that previous segment was like,
yeah. Folks, we're getting down the home stretch. Get your super chats in, get your humper chats in. Let's talk about next week. Macklin and Moose with Sammy as a special guest referee. Mia Yim and Giselle Shaw go one-on-one. Kazarian and Kenny King. That's going to be a banger match. I'm all for it. Matt Taven and Alex Shelley one-on-one. Again, very banger match. And I'm sure there will be other matches added in the coming weeks. Looking forward to a lot of the good stuff coming. And I looked forward to this one. Monsters Ball. Allie Katch makes her Impact Wrestling debut. Takes on Masha Slamovich. Allie Katch, by the way, there's an interview on youtube.com/Fightful. Allie Katch and Sean Ross Sapp caught up for a few minutes. She mentioned that she's worked with Jordan Grace and that Allie would, she'd try to get a few spots pitched. And Jordan would be like, no, we're not doing that. So go ahead, listen to that interview. The spots that she would pitch are like crazy things, but it's funny. She's always talking about how like strong Jordan Grace is, and she's not wrong. This is the third match ever between Allie Katch and Masha Slamovich. Cannot believe it has not happened in GCW, but it has happened at an event that Masha Slamovich was the poster child for, and that is the Borscht at the Beach event back in September 2021, where Slamovich took on Allie Katch. So there you go. Lights are on, and it's time to fight, Cresta Starr. This match was absolutely wild. No surprise, Masha Slamovich gets the win. Talk us through it. What did you like? What did you not like? Nuts match.
I have seen Allie Katch on Twitter with Bussy forever. Never seen her wrestle before tonight. Maybe 1/3 into the match, I had to stop writing, and I was just like this the whole time. It was so I expected good, but the first Monsters Ball match I ever saw was Sami Callihan versus Moose, and that went the way I expected. This went beyond what I expected. The spot where she does the what I thought was the snowplow onto the chair, and then picks up Allie Katch again and puts her through the snowplow on those broken aluminum cans. But Allie Katch, she headbutted Masha like twice one time, and the second time I swear I heard bone crack. To quote Big E, I don't want no 30-minute classic. I want 2 big meaty women slapping meat. And that's what I got. That is what I got. And it told the line for me with brutal and bloody, but I didn't write anything because this was me literally the whole time. What a good match. Like, on free television, that was my match of the night, my match of the week even. And there was some really good things on wrestling this week. But what did you think, Joel?
So I was told to keep an eye out for this match.
Mm-hmm.
And it immediately made me feel better about it because, like I said at the top of this show, I was not really jazzed about it. I'm like, Allie's cool. She's fine. Don't know what kind of match they're going to have after I watched Max and Jordan Grace tear it up at Victory Road. That being said, I was wrong. I know Allie Katch can have a hardcore match. By the way, the gear that she wore for the first time in this show was really good. It was TV ready gear, and I appreciated that. She could have worn the gear she wore at the GCW pay-per-view, but instead she had new gear made. It looked super great. That green and red gear was so sweet. The chain came into play a whole bunch. I loved it. The sign and the mouth was gnarly. There was some good stuff. The Rip soda can, they were obviously playing to my brand, and I appreciate that as a soda person. And then, everyone has to bleed because that's what you do. And the whole time the crowd is chanting, "Use the door." And I'm like, that's got to be the finish. And they kept teasing to do the door. Eventually, there's the superplex onto the trash can lid, and then Allie Katch grabs Masha and hits the DVD into the door, and it's a 2.9. And I was just like, that's wild. They've got to have something going. And then, Allie Katch goes for the pussy pile driver onto the apron. Masha counters it, turns it into a side Russian leg sweep, of course, at ringside through the chairs after some casual biting, because you gotta bite people now in wrestling. It's what happens.
Eat your heart out, Crazy Steve.
That's right. Eat your heart out, Ace Steel. I mean, Crazy Steve. And then there's a whole bunch of snowplow attempts, which is great. Eventually, Katch hits that pussy pile driver onto the tacks for 2.9. And then Katch pulls out that soda can filled with cut up the garbage can filled with cut up soda cans. And I had a good laugh about that. And I'm like, that's me. You're speaking of my brand. Thank you. And then Masha hits the snowplow onto the tacks and the cans for the win. And it was a wild finish. And I loved the match. And it really did deliver after I didn't know what to expect. I wouldn't say I did. I was underwhelmed going into it. And then I found out how wrong I was. It was a great match.
I will also say that spot where Masha takes Allie and does like the backdrop off the side through those 2 tables.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, disgusting. It looked visually brutal. I'm sure these are professionals. They're fine, but still. That match had no business being that damn good. No business on free television.
I want to see what didn't make the final cut.
Yes.
Because I think there were some spots on the stage that maybe didn't make it. But either way, they cut whatever it was. This cut was great. The match was fantastic for what it was. I mean, it's a plunder match. It's only going to be so good. But these two tore it up and had a great match. Made me feel really excited for Bound for Glory. It's 8 days away. Next week, when we talk about Impact, we'll probably preview Bound for Glory as well, give some picks. And Bound for Glory. Are you missing?
I won't be here next week.
Yes, we'll have special guests joining us for the next couple of weeks. Cresta is going on vacation.
Guys, I'll be at TwitchCon. If you're going to be at TwitchCon in San Diego, be like Cresta Starr. Sign my wrestling belt. If you see me bald-headed, I may or may not be Sailor Rattlesnake, and that's exactly what you think it is. But yes, I will be in the San Diego area. I won't be here next week. So if I interview any wrestlers, we're all going to have a thing that says, "We love Joel Pearl." Pow, pow, pow.
That's me.
That's you.
Oh my God. So yeah, Cresta won't be with us for the next couple of weeks. We'll have some people joining me. There'll be someone else for the next couple of weeks. TBD. So keep it locked on my socials and all over the place. And Cresta, I'm sure, will also promote it. For those who may ask, Bound for Glory is next Friday. The post show will be hosted by Denise Salcedo and Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender podcast on Fightful Select. They will probably do the show on Saturday, if I had to guess, the day after, because God knows there's Battle of the Belts for AEW and Rampage for AEW, and SmackDown is on, and Bound for Glory. It's going to be a wild night again. So keep it locked. We're here at youtube.com/Fightful for all your post shows, and all your news is over at FightfulSelect.com. Get your $5 down and get all your news and Sour Graps and your Ask Grapsities and your Ask Sean Ross Saps, and your list goes on. All the stuff we got. Cresta, what you got going on? Plug your stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Cresta Starr. You can see me every Thursday here with the illustrious, the beautiful, the salt and pepper beard, Joel Pearl. And you can also catch me on Know Your News on Saturdays with Jules the Human. We'll be talking about weird video games, and we had a great time last week. We talked about accessibility with video games and playing video games with your feet. Show feet. You can also find me on Twitter at Cresta the Star. I have a link tree. You can find me all over anywhere you can type Cresta Star. Joel, where can they find you?
I ain't hard to find. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPeerl. A good show tonight. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm going to go to Cleveland and have some fun. No one's ever said that ever. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the weekend. Cheers.
Bye.